I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world today. If you and I haven't met yet, my name is Ingor, and I'm recognized as a networking ninja. I'm hired by entrepreneurs to help them develop a LinkedIn strategy so that they can stand out and connect with their ideal community. If you watched my intro video, you will have seen a word that is not very well known in the Western world. And that word is Ubuntu. So, what does Ubuntu mean? Let me show you. Ubuntu is an ancient African word, and it means humanity to others. It is often described as reminding us that I am what I am because of who we all are. In short, I am because we are. The reason why this is one of the principles upon which I base my life is, first of all, it's steeped in South African tradition, and I am South African. But it's also because I love people. My love for people means that I interact with many on a daily basis. And I feel that I am who I am as a result of everyone that I have crossed paths with in my life. So if you are here watching, or if you're catching the replay, know that you have made an impact, whether it's big or small, on my life. I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors. So, thank you to you, Kindness Inspired. Know that we love and appreciate you so much for all your support of this show. And if you're looking at my screen, you will see that I am in the bottom left-hand corner sporting my Kindness Inspired mug because I am a proud Kindness Incorporator. Thank you also to you, Island Spices, for your support of this show. We appreciate you. And if you are in Toronto, please send me a message and I will link you up with Island Spices. They serve the most delectable island food right here in the heart of Canada. So thank you again to our sponsors. And again, if you're watching live, please, please drop us a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to be able to acknowledge you. Without further ado, let me bring on my guest. Hello to you, Sam.
Hello, Ingor. How are you?
I'm awesome, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Super pleased to be on your show.
I'm super happy to have you here, to be honest. I know that your time is limited, so I appreciate you making the time to be here with us. Um, Sam, could you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you are, what you do, and um, anything that you'd like us to know, please?
Yeah, happy to. And some words from your intro sort of caught, my attention. And when you said you hate video, and I equally hate video as well. But going on the hate theme, what I do for my day job most people sort of hate their ERP systems. And my goal always is what can I do to make sure they are going to love their ERP system? So that's going to be
Mhm.
the day job. So we look at these things very independently, remove sort of vendor bias from the assessments, and try to help companies adopt these enterprise grade systems so that they can grow. I have been doing this for what now, 20, 25 years. At the personal level, I have 2-year-old, Simon, who is super awesome talking these days. So having a lot of fun with him. So yeah, so that's about me.
Awesome. No, let's we'll move on and then we'll come back to what you said. But thank you, thank you, Sam. Let's have a look at what's happening in the comment sections and say hello to all the people. Hello to you. Raven is tuning in from South Africa. She's my niece, almost 14 years old, but she's one of my awesome supporters, and I appreciate her. Hello to you, ABD Bara. Thank you so much for tuning in. Nice to see you here. And we have our awesome friend. Hello. Gail says Inga does love people and it shows every day.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend. So happy to have you here. And then we have one of my awesome friends. She works in the manufacturing industry. This is Whitney. And she says, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just put this on the screen. She says I sang to her for her birthday. Yes, I did. But we don't sing on camera. Good morning to you, Whitney. And let us know where you're tuning in from. Oh, she did. Let's see. She says, tuning in from Sugarland, Texas.
Texas.
I love that. Whenever I read it, it's like, I don't know, it just brings a smile to my face to read where Whitney's from. So thank you for being here, Whitney. And good morning to you, Joseph. Wow. He says, Team Boomified is in the house, bringing the boom from Miami, Florida. Thank you for being here, Joseph. Nice to see you. Oh my gosh. He says, I'm the podcast queen. And hello to you, Earl. Thank you for tuning in from Toronto. Wow, nice to see you all. Um, Joseph says, I love video. Yeah, Joseph. Joseph is actually friends with Russ Hedge.
Hmm.
And any chance that Russ has to tease me about that, he does. That's why Joseph is echoing that. Thank you. Good morning to you, King of Process.
Yes.
Nice to see you here, Dave. Thank you. And he says, so great to see the two of you together, Sam and
Yes.
Inga. Yes. Oh my gosh. And look who else is here. Is he still the CDO?
He's still the CDO. Nobody can replace him. No, there's no way.
No, and I actually tuned in to a show that he was on Wednesday with Russ and Scott Smith,
Yeah.
and Bob shared that he loves cooking too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't
That's
know
where
that.
his passion for drinking comes, I guess. And you might want to explain CDO to your audience. I don't know if they know it. What
Okay,
CDO is.
so Sam hosts a networking show, a networking what do I call it? A networking
Event.
group, and
Yeah.
we have it used to be once a week on a Friday, and I think it's now once every 2 weeks. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
It's for people in the manufacturing industry, and Bob is the chief drinks officer, and he shares recipes for cocktails within the group. So nice to have you here, Bob. Awesome. Wow. I love to see some networking in the comments, of course. And Bob says he's tuning in from Boston. Boston. Thank you. And Dave, oh my gosh, Dave, really?
Chile, Michigan.
He says it's chilly. Well, Do you think it's chilly by us yet, Sam?
No, not right now.
Not
He's gonna
Toronto
get it. He's
chilly.
not very far, So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then seeing some awesome networking. I love this. And if you are in the comments and you're not connected to each other, please do it. You won't be sorry. There's a reason why you're all here. So thank you for being here. And oh my gosh, Gail, do you want to go ahead and read Gail's comment, please, Sam?
Yeah, happy to. Gail is saying, tuning in from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, which is not very far from us. So thank you so much, Gail, for joining. And she's saying, come visit. Vex mandate ending September 30th, which is a good news. She has been a great supporter for that. And Arrive Canada app to be made optional. So open for business. Come on,
Oh
guys.
my God.
Bring on business.
And that's next week, Friday, actually, and it's my birthday. So happy birthday to
Happy
me from
birthday to
Canada,
you.
right? Like it's been it's been a long 2.5 years, to be honest
Yes.
with you. And I don't know, Sam, did you travel? I think you traveled to India during this time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I traveled a little bit, Yeah, it's always painful. So I am trying to avoid as much as possible to avoid any disruptions. Because once you're stuck, then, it's just hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I had so I'll share just a little something. My family and I went to South Africa at the beginning of this year, in January, and we came back in February. Well, would you believe that? So we were five traveling together, and we were all randomly selected for a test. Come on.
Yeah, and I actually was lucky when I was traveling, to be honest. Okay, everybody else was randomly selected except me. Okay, and
Wow.
they were all coming as positive. I got lucky. I was so frightened. No, 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 no. This is not for me. And typically, I am one in a million possibility. If anything can go wrong, that'll go wrong with me. So this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna go positive. Anyways, when you are traveling to countries like India, I mean, nobody really sort of wears the mask, and they are not going to sort of take care and family bonding. How that works, right? I mean, so yeah, so we were like hanging out together without any mask, and I'm like, okay, I'm definitely positive. But luckily, I was the
Wow.
only sort of one that who could travel, without, yeah. So I was super lucky there.
Yeah, you were. I guess that was a one in a million, but on the positive. So,
Positive side.
oh my gosh. So Joseph is saying that he's sorry for us all because they are in full South Florida weather. Oh my gosh, I can. I'm jealous. To be honest with you, this morning I got up and checked the TV and it said it is 2 degrees Celsius this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's cold enough for me. It's time for me to migrate.
Yeah, Joseph can come over here in next 2 months, and then we can show him how -30 feels like. Uh,
Right? I
exactly.
honestly like, even if winter is mild in Toronto, when February hits, believe me, it's gonna be
I know.
freezing, freezing cold. Um, Gail says, "Woohoo! I need Sam Gupta to read more of my posts." Oh,
Happy to do it. Happy to do it
yeah.
anytime.
Oh my gosh! And Joseph says that's what I call random. Yeah, awesome. So, Sam, let's dive into the questions. Don't grimace, don't grimace. So, if you know Sam, this is gonna be a little bit more personal than what he usually is. But I'm happy to bring out that side of you. So let's
Try
go.
hard. Try hard, Inger. Okay, you're not gonna get anything out of it. Hit
So,
me hard.
Sam, tell us, can you share with us what inspires you?
what inspires me? Okay, and I am actually going to make you nervous, Inger, because Inger inspires me, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Okay,
I think
Inger
we need to
inspires.
go to solo view. Go for it.
No, seriously, Inger inspires me. And the reason why Inger inspires me, and by the way, not just inspires me, she has always inspired me the moment Inger sort of we got introduced and we were introduced on LinkedIn. And if I remember correctly, and my memory is really good, I'm really proud of that. Okay. So if I remember correctly, I think we were hanging out on Robert Johnson's post, and he's a common friend for both of us, and he sort of introduced us, and he was pitching for you that no, Inger is really good. And I'm like, I was going after all of the LinkedIn influencers, whoever was really good at LinkedIn, because obviously I was trying to build my own presence as well. And Inger came with this force that I have never seen before. For me, if I look at a role model, they have to be more productive than me. Okay. And productivity, I define it as you should be able to accomplish more than me in the given time. That's how I look at the productivity. And you came with this massive force. Okay, you were commenting, boom, 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 boom on LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, how many people are commenting when Inger is claiming that she is present on LinkedIn? And I don't know, Inger, how many people were supporting you. I believe you must have like typing speed of 80 words per minute, and that's why you were able to comment so fast. You had and by the way, your comments were
Wow.
not like somebody who was typing fast. They were very well structured, super polished English. So I'm like, okay, this person is obviously super talented and super productive. So I always try to figure out, okay, if somebody is going to be more productive than me, what are they doing differently that I can probably learn from them? So that's why Inger and anybody who is going to be more productive than me always inspires me.
Wow. I'm like so taken aback right now. You have no idea. Thank you. And I will tell you, I interviewed Robert 2 weeks ago, 2 episodes ago. So, um, and if you're watching and you didn't know this, I haven't been well, for some time. And I think it's just a matter of burnout, really, because
Yeah.
my immune system has been low. So I'm finding that I'm more susceptible to being ill and canceling more shows than what I want to. And I was this close to cancel this show today, but I decided that I'm not going to do that because I've I feel like I miss out on my family, my community when I'm not here. And take me or leave me. This is who I am. This is how I'm feeling today. I'm not well. I'm under the weather. So I'm actually sucking a holes so that I don't cough while we're talking. But Sam, I know how productive you are. And to me, that's a huge compliment because um, when I go on LinkedIn, I don't want to be going after those vanity metrics, right? Like it's all about community, all about pouring into the lives of others, all about connecting. So if if you're in my community, I want to know you as a person, your heart, not what you do, not how much money you have, not where you live. I don't care about all that stuff. It's about heart to heart for me.
Yeah.
And Robert, I was telling you 2 episodes ago, I interviewed Robert, and I've actually dubbed him my fire starter because he ignited the fire within me to start on LinkedIn. He's the person that actually got me started, and he is such an inspiration. And he brings community together, but so do you. So thank you. I really didn't expect that answer to my question. So okay, now let me ask you a question, and I'm gonna take this back probably to um, to when you were younger. Who was your role model and why?
Hmm. Interesting. Who was my role model when I was younger? One of the things, I don't know whether I told you, Ingor, or not. I have always had a lot of challenges in my life. Okay, I was always sort of slow to learn everything, and I don't know if it was because of the attention issues. I mean, I still struggle a lot with that. I don't know if I officially have any sort of ADHD, but for me, learning anything was always very, 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 very difficult. Okay, so I had to go deep in everything to be able to understand what a subject was trying to teach, or a teacher was trying to teach. I could very rarely learn anything from any of the teacher or the traditional classroom methods. If I remember correctly, until 8th or ninth grade, I just didn't know what I was reading. Okay, I could never sort of understand what I could never comprehend. And for me, meaning is very important. If I don't understand the meaning of something, or why we are doing certain things, it's very, 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 very hard for me to feel motivated. I'll feel very depressed if I don't have that. So I had one of my friend, and who's my best friend. He actually taught me how to comprehend. Okay, so that's why he was sort of role model, because he was my hero. That, okay, I just didn't know how to read, and this is such a basic thing that everybody sort of understands. For me, it was personally very challenging, because I had no idea how to do it. None of the teachers could really teach me, so it was sort of a gift that he taught me how to comprehend a subject or the complex topics. So he always was my hero. And now, anybody who teaches me anything is probably going to be my hero. And the reason for that is because I am not your traditional learner. I have to learn from very different methods. And typically, when I learn, then I'm able to express myself slightly better, I guess. And that's why probably I'm really good at what I do. Just because I'm probably going to have deeper answers than anybody else. But for me, he was my role model, because if it were not for him, I would never learn to sort of comprehend in my life.
Wow, I didn't know that about you actually. Because when
Something
I
new
look
every
at
day.
you, like, no, like most of us probably look at you and we're like, wow, like Sam is a machine. That's what a lot of us actually call you. Because your productivity level is so high, right? And even the speed at which you speak, sometimes it's like, whoa. But um wow, that's good to share more of that kind of side of you, because it helps people to relate. And I will say, I have three girls, and my middle daughter, she's left-handed, and she is a left brain thinker, so non-traditional. And I didn't know that until she was like grade 2, because something that, because I'm a traditional thinker, and I remember trying to help her with fractions, and she didn't get it.
Yep.
And I had to show her in a different way. And the way that I showed her was I cut an orange in half, and I showed, okay, this is one of two. That's why it's like, that's why it shows like that, 1/2. And then it was like I could see her have this epiphany. And the reason why I found that method was because I went and I looked for it. It's not something that is just readily available to you,
Yeah.
because traditional ways of thinking, and it's the foundation of schooling is reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? Like that's what it is. But for people that are non-traditional thinkers, they develop those skills later on. And that's what I'm picking up from what you're saying. And so now for you it's easier. to comprehend, I guess, than before. And also because of the skill that your friend taught you. How did he show you?
Well, so he taught me a couple of strategies. Number one, I think when I was sort of reading, I was not reading in my head. So he taught me that you need to sort of repeat yourself and paraphrase in terms of what you are understanding. And when you are using your body, then your brain is probably going to learn. In my case, I was sort of reading, but I was not reading, so that's why I was not comprehending. So there was a little disconnect there. I'll tell you one more story if you allow me.
Yes, go.
People talk about how fast I speak, but that goes back to, and a lot of people don't understand
Oh,
why sort of people are they struggle with fast speaking. In my case, again, anything that I had to learn as a child was always difficult. And one of these stories that I remember is, I was never good at sort of acting. It was very difficult for me because I was always sort of nervous that I am always going to forget my lines. So I never participated in anything, very rarely played any sort of sports because I think I had issues with the motor skills as well. It was very, very, very hard for me to learn anything in general. So one time, teacher asked me, okay, you know what? You need to play in this drama. And I had like literally 4 lines that I had to remember. And I went on a stage, and, there I could do probably 2 because obviously I'm very passionate and competitive. When I get there, then I need to do it. But then, as soon as the third line came, and it was very simple line, it wasn't anything rocket science, but I froze right there, and that actually sat with me always, that whenever I'm speaking, I'm probably going to forget my lines. So still today I am very, very, very nervous that, okay, I'm speaking and I'm actually going to forget my lines. So it has been an exercise for me, and still now, as I'm getting older now, it's becoming worse, to be honest. Okay,
mm,
so the more nervous you are going to be, and again, fast speaking not is the cultural thing that most people think. It actually is in your head,
yeah,
the way your head is designed.
yeah.
So
And
yeah.
I totally get that. I remember. I'll tell you just quickly. I was on the phone one day at work. My husband called me, and when I finished talking to him, my friend said to me, "Whoa, who was that?" And I said, "It was my husband." And she's like, "How the hell do you understand him?" Because he speaks so fast, she could hear him speaking.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same for him, where he gets nervous and
Yep.
then he just wants to make sure that he gets out what he needs to say. And that's crazy. I didn't think of it like that. Wow. Well, that's good, Sam. The thing is, like, we all develop different methods of coping,
Yeah.
right? So okay, so let me show you a quote that I love. It's by Kevin Cruz, and it says, "Life is about making an impact, not an income." The reason why I love this is because, of course, I love people. And I believe that if I strive for impact, the income will come. And so, moving on to my next question, my life statement is to positively impact the lives of others. And as I told you earlier, I actually I develop, we go through an evolution, all of us, right? And as we go, and as I like interviewed with more people and came on shows and podcasts, I developed different things about myself, where it was always there non-verbally, but then I was able to start putting the words to it. And so for me, my life statement is to positively impact the lives of others. What's yours?
Okay, so my purpose, and when I say, one thing that I like to think and reflect very deeply overall is, when people say that, what, I really want to make an impact in others life, but they cannot really go deep enough in understanding how their actions are going to be impacting others. Whatever we do, whatever we talk is going to have impact on somebody else. For example, we are in the ERP field, as you all know, right? So in the ERP field, one decision that you are going to make is actually going to impact a lot of people in general, and you need to be mindful of that, because sometimes that could be their job, that could be, they might be personally impacted because of that. So having that in the back of mind typically helps. Now when you are, let's say you are applying for a job, when you are going to get a job, it's probably going to impact somebody else, because you might be taking somebody else's job. So one thing that most people don't do and realize is to understand how your actions are going to be impacting others at a very deep level. If you have that understanding in your interpersonal relationship or the communication or sales, it doesn't matter, whoever, let's say if you're talking to a customer, when you are talking to a customer, when you are trying to sell something to them, it could mean their job if you oversold. Okay. So
Mm.
in my mind, when I look at this, is always, okay, how am I really impacting others? Irrespective of whether I say it or not, I have to mean it in my heart that, okay, I need to be mindful. Okay, I should not be overselling, because if I oversold, this might impact, number one, this company, number two, this person who is right in front of me. So in my view, always what I do is I try to understand the person who I am dealing with at a very deeper level and see, okay, how anything that I am going to be doing is going to be impacting others. And, I try to be mindful of that. I don't know if I answered your question.
Wow. Yes, you did. Wow. I never thought about it like that. That every single thing, like if because I know you're good at sales, better than me. I hate pitching, but you know, um, I never thought about it like that. Where you approach everything with that in mind.
Yeah, and one of the things I think people misunderstand what sales is supposed to be honest. Okay, fundamentally, if you go to like the first sales book ever created, and I don't know, Inger, if you have read it and your listeners have read it, it's called Red Book of Sales. And I don't know if I got the name right or not. It's supposed to be a pocket book that every single salesperson used to carry back in the days. That was the first book sort of was created. And during those days, it was used to be that, okay, if you are going to be extrovert, then you are probably going to be a good salesperson. And that book, the fundamentals, if you look at the core fundamentals of that book, okay, it taught, okay, sales is all about giving. That was the foundation of that book. Sales was never about your offering. Okay. It was always about, okay, whoever you talk to,
Yeah.
what can you do to give? And the more you give, the more you are going to get back. That is the foundation of sales. Yes, Inger, you talk about kindness. Okay. But sales, the fundamentals of sales, it was always about what can you give. The more you
Yeah.
give, the more
What
you
did
give
you
to
do
your
with it?
customers, the more you give to your connections.
Yeah.
Okay. The more you are going to get. So good salespeople had always figured this out, that it was always about giving and never come across as somebody who is going to pitch. In fact, good salespeople very rarely pitch.
Pitch.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you need to be subtle. I mean, it cannot be, okay, you're never going to talk about what you do, then how is the person going to know what you really do? So you need to sort of strike the balance, that you need to still tell what you do, but at the same time you should not come across, and that is again another term that I use, that irrespective of whether you feel it in your head or not, perception is the reality. So you really need to make sure that you are coming across as somebody who is going to be genuine, trustworthy, and those are really the fundamentals of sales that 90% of the salespeople, they just don't get it.
Yeah. It's about KLT, right? Know,
Exactly,
like, and trust.
exactly.
Yeah.
People say it, they just don't understand how to do it, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. We can go into that a little bit deeper, but let's go and see what's happening in the comments first. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Gail says, so Bob said to Gail that she needs to post her links into WBS Rock's DM daily so that she can hear you reading her posts. um, and Bob said also, more productive than Sam Gupta. Is that even possible?
It's possible. Look at Ingor.
Oh my gosh.
She's a machine times two.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, King of Process. He says amazing compliments and spot on. Yes, Sam. Inga is amazing. Wow. Thank you. Um, Bob, say, can you go ahead and read Bob's comment first, please?
Yeah, so I think Bob had to rush. He's saying back to work. Glad I could pop in for a few. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend, friends.
Awesome. And here I'd like you to read this.
Okay, Gail. Wow. Okay, as always, Gail is always going to do that, right? So we all know Gail's energy. Okay, so Gail is saying this show is a terrific example of inspiration. And I could not agree more with Gail on that.
Um,
So thank you so much for doing awesome work, Ingor. And thanks for sharing, Sam Gupta. Your story is powerful and proof of the power of curiosity. And
yeah.
Gail is right. I mean, she really emphasizes on that. She goes really deep. And by the way, Missy, that's why I really like Gail, to be
Yeah.
honest. On the first meeting, okay, she
Yeah.
had no clue what I was talking about. She had no clue what I was doing, but she wanted to go really deep. Okay, what is ERP? She goes really deep into mold making. And that's what
Yeah.
makes her so personable because, irrespective of whether you care for somebody else's interest or not, if you can really connect with them at a deeper level, that sort of shows care and attention. So thank you so much, Gail, for doing whatever you are doing.
Yeah, I Gail and I often laugh about this because when we were invited to WBS Rocks, neither one of us knew what ERP was. And we felt like, what the
You
heck are
don't
we
want to
doing
know.
here? I remember actually going to that networking series, and I was like, what the heck am I doing here? Right? And I I said I hate video, and I really came to WBS Rocks, and I just had my video off the whole time until I had to speak, turned it on, spoke, and then turned it back off again because I really do hate video, really. So here's a comment for you, Sam. Go ahead and read it, please.
Yeah, so Dave is saying thank you for sharing, Sam. And we all have things that make us us. That's the beauty of building relationships and creating community. A
Yeah,
much deeper understanding of who people are below the surface of what you see. And now that's the trick. That it's very, very, very hard for people to be able to see unless you train your body and brain for that. You need to
yeah,
learn to read between the lines, and that is
yes,
the second or third or fourth or fifth skill that every salesperson should have. People don't always say what they
yes.
mean, so you need to be really good at reading between the lines. Grateful to you and Ingor in my circle. Thank you so much for
Oh,
Dave for joining in.
thank you, Dave. And something that Gail often says is you need to learn to read the room.
Yes, 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 yes.
And I cannot agree more with you and her about that. Read between the lines, read the room. A lot of people actually don't tap into their EQ,
Yep,
and
agreed.
it's a skill. It is a skill to be able to read somebody, the way they feel about something, and just know how you need to behave accordingly, right?
Yeah,
So
so the problem with that, and I'll address that comment if you allow me again.
yes,
And
yes, go.
typically, people sort of again, they like to say things. They like to say, okay, EQ, I'm gonna do EQ. But typically, when you really want to focus on something, you have to come out of yourself. Okay, if you're not able to come out of yourself, which would mean that, okay, you might be thinking that you are really good at EQ, but unless you forget yourself that you are not present in the room, you need to pay attention to the micro expression of everybody, how they are feeling. And feeling is another word that, I like to personally use. It's not important, how people are sort of saying or reacting. It's the feeling, how they feel after each meeting in the room. That's what they are going to carry afterwards, and that will dictate whether they are going to do business with you or not. The other term that I like to use is going to be the confidence, and confidence is much deeper as well. Okay, so when I say confidence, what I mean is when you finish your sales call or the networking call, people sort of make their mind whether they are going to work with you or not, whether they are going to get headache in working with you or not. And that defines whether you are going to win or your deal or not, regardless of what product or service you might be selling. It's the confidence that they are going to have in working with you, whether they can trust you, whether they are you are going to keep their back, when they might need you. Sorry, Ingor, sorry to hijack
No,
your show.
no, 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 no. This is why you're here, because you can speak to those things, right? I actually want to share a quote. That's I was doing that while you were talking, actually. I wanted to share a quote with you because it's one of those quotes that people don't always get what it means. Um, and it's so important. It's by Maya Angelou, and she says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly. Exactly.
And this is applicable everywhere, really.
Exactly. Exactly.
So wow. Thank you, Sam. Okay, I want to say, so Chrislyn is saying hello, and she says, thanks for sharing, Sam.
Hello, Chris.
And Chrislyn is my cousin. She's in South Africa. And the two of us work together, actually. And Earl says, I like that comment. Sales is all about giving, not about what you are offering.
It really is.
Yeah, yeah. And hello to you, James Kunkel. He says, excellent conversation. Have you met James,
No,
Sam?
I don't believe so. Yeah, I'd love
He's
to meet. Yeah.
he's awesome, and he's also part of the manufacturing community,
Hmm.
by the way. He has a show called Build It. It's
Hmm.
at noon on a Wednesday, before Gales. So that's how I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Whitney says, thanks for sharing that quote. It's such a good one for all of us to remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yes, exactly. Okay, let's go to the networking part, which, we are talking about the power of networking. And I want to highlight for you what networking is. It is the action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. Sam, you are a master networker. So, what's your take on networking?
Well, so my take, first of all, on this quote, and if you could keep it,
Oh, sure.
the definition, the theoretical. Okay. So this is what you read, but you need to go one level deeper if you really want to be master networker. Okay. So here the definition is saying action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contact. Sure, that's the outcome. But that's not how to execute on networking. Okay,
Yeah.
most people, and my friend Gail is gonna get kicked out of it. Okay, and the reason for that is when you go to your trade shows, the way people approach trade shows is going to be, hey, I have got this fancy brochure, look at it, I have such an amazing offering. But again, what you are not doing in those trade shows is not reading the person who is standing right in front of you. You have very little understanding of their priorities. Okay, it's about them, it's not about you. A lot of
Yeah.
people say it, they don't understand what that means. Okay, that person who is standing there is going there to find their customers. Okay, they have invested at least 10 to $20,000 to set up that booth, and they are going there to find their customers. Now, you are going to go there. Obviously, your priorities are not aligned to their priorities. So, obviously, you are going to come across as more of the spam, is how I like to define, because, I don't care for you. Why are you here? I'm going to be polite because my customers are in front of, standing right here. And obviously, I don't want to come across as impolite. That's why I am being polite to you. Okay, but let's say if you turn the table and align yourself with their priorities. Okay, let's remember, what are their priorities?
Yeah.
They are there to find their customers. Now, can you do something to help them in finding
Uh-huh.
their customers? Okay, that's the master stroke of networking that most people don't understand. And if you have worked with any good salespeople, okay, one thing they are really good at, and trade shows are full of salespeople. They are there
Yeah.
to sell. They all want to sell. You all want to sell. The problem is you all are doing wrong. Okay, that's not how to approach networking. That's not how to approach your sales. So your goal should be, what can I do? Even the basic step, it could be commenting on LinkedIn, liking your customers post on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
doing a very small intro, doing a very small favor. When you do these things, people remember. Good salespeople always remember, even if you did minor thing for them to be able to help with a deal or career, they will make sure, they will make sure, they will keep your number, they'll keep your name, and they'll make sure they do something for you. Because one thing that good salespeople really understand is going to be, when you do something for them, and this is what I am going to, I'm going back to the fundamentals of sales. It's about giving. And when salespeople, when they are giving it to somebody, they are also very ROI focused. They are not randomly going to give it to somebody. Okay,
Yeah.
they are, because obviously they need to meet their numbers, and it's their job, it's their fundamental right to be able to give to somebody who's going to actually give back. So there is
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that as such, right? So when they are giving it to somebody, they are sort of measuring the ROI in their head, and it's just
Yeah.
wired with them always. Okay, so that's how they typically approach networking, and that's how you should be approaching networking, and that's how I believe in networking. When I'm networking with anybody, number one, they have to be aligned with my strategic interest. You cannot hang out in every single networking forum out there. There are a million, and it's probably not fair to the people who you are hanging out with, because you are probably going to be wasting their time. Okay, so you really need to find the focus groups where you can find customers, and where you can help the people you are networking with find their customers. So that's the understanding that you need to have. Okay, these are my 5 pockets that I need to hang out with, and I am going to be connecting with only 500 people that I can really contribute in their life, and hopefully they are going to get back to me. So I don't know. This is how I like to think about networking. It's way deeper. Most people approach it, I'll give you my business card, give me a call when you need me. Obviously, that's what everybody's doing. So
Yeah.
what makes you different?
Yeah. I belong to this networking group. We meet once a month, and I invited uh, some people to be part of it. Well, I noticed that they came for a few months and then they stopped coming. And the reason is because they tried to pitch to the people that are there. And then those people didn't bite, so they left. And I just thought, wow, like, really? That's what you. Because to me, networking is about building my community. It's about making friends with people. It's about what can I do for you? How can I give to you? And one thing that I try to do actually, when I give, I don't expect anything in return. Um, and I know,
And
I know,
I
I know.
highly disagree with you.
I know you do. But for me, the ROI is just knowing that I was able to do that for them. And for me, that's enough because I know that, whether you believe in God, whether it's karma or whatever, I believe you give and you will receive. That's just the wheel of life, really. That's the way the wheel turns, right? So, anyway, let's not go further into that because I know you don't agree with me. Let's go to the next question, actually. Uh, how has networking impacted you?
So, honestly speaking, networking, and for me, I mean, two things that are really fundamental to my being. For me, learning has to be there because that is something that did not come easily to me. And I learn from everyone around me a lot. The reason why I host a podcast is not to sort of promote some sort of offering. Obviously, that's going to be the byproduct of whatever I'm doing, but for me it has always been my own personal learning. Okay, so that's how I sort of like to focus in terms of whatever I'm doing. It has to be learning for me, and that's how I whatever I'm doing, I mean, it has to be some sort of learning. That's how I like to structure myself. And I don't know if I answered your question, Linger.
Yes. So let me go deeper into that
Yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, please.
uh, let me say this. So, I actually learned more about networking from you and Robert, right? So that was my learning from you, my takeaway from the two of you. I learned from Gail to be curious, not judgmental. Um, I learned from David to see the process in everything.
Yeah.
Um, I've learned from other friends to be resilient. So for me, networking is really making friends with people who have different skill sets than I do, and then looking at what they do, looking at who they are, and highlighting characteristics that um, I admire, right? And then I strive to emulate that. So as a result of that, I've grown more comfortable in video. I've written a book. I have a show. I have a YouTube channel. Like 1.5 years ago, if you told me I would do all this, I would say you're insane, right? But here I am. And I remember actually when you invited me to WBS Rocks, I had no idea what that meeting was about. I went, and when I saw everybody was introducing themselves and saying what they did, I was like, oh crap, how can I leave without being rude? And I just sat there and I was like, oh shit, I need to go. And I think this is the first time I swore on my show, by the way. but but seriously, I thought to myself, like, how am I gonna leave? I know Sam knows I'm here. So how do I leave? Like, what am I gonna say? I'm gonna say like my internet's not working. What do I do? Because I was totally freaked out and thinking to myself, like, I don't belong here. This is manufacturing. Like, what am I doing here?
And
And
that's why, honestly speaking, if you could allow me, and that's why
yes,
I sort of
sure.
disagree with you in terms of number one, giving, and not sort of knowing where you need to hang out. Because see, if you are going to draw people who really don't belong to that community, they might trust themselves in being there. But who are you serving? You are you are not serving yourself. You are probably not serving me because you are simply forcing yourself to be in a situation where you are not comfortable. And that's why it is really important to hang out with the right people and the right community where you both are going to be benefited. So I don't know, just
but
wanted to comment there.
but I will say, I actually and I stayed and I did benefit from it. And I did build relationships with people. And now I can say that I work with manufacturers because I teach manufacturers how to stand out and connect with their ideal community. I actually, so I've been, for the longest time, I've been saying that I serve entrepreneurs, but I realized that manufacturing is actually my niche. It's crazy to think, but it's the truth. I now, because of WBS Rocks, I'm more and more involved with manufacturing. I even attend the USA Manufacturing Twitter Hour on Thursdays. Like, seriously. But because you kickstarted that in me. I never thought that I would be part of manufacturing, but here I am. And that's the other thing. Even if you think you don't belong, why don't you just exercise that curiosity, be open, and see where it leads? Who knows, right?
Yeah, could not agree more.
I mean, I if I didn't ask you to be on my show, I would never have known that I inspire you, because we don't
Exactly.
have those fluffy conversations. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
so that yeah, that's the beauty of life, really.
It is.
Um, okay, so how do you leverage a platform such as LinkedIn? What do you do on LinkedIn? How do you network?
Yeah, so I go back to my fundamentals of how I think of networking. And I don't know, honestly speaking, I did a good job of answering your previous question. So I'll probably, build on that a little bit as well, and then probably, provide some more context how I see LinkedIn. So for me, as I had mentioned, LinkedIn is about learning. But when I say learning, in my learning, that means I am being mean and selfish. Okay, it's always about you. Okay, it's about the people that I am hanging out with, right? So this is personally for me. But what is it for the other people? So typically for me it is going to be, and when I say relationship, I really mean it. Relationship meaning, for me it has to be if I am associating with somebody. And that's why I was always like, Ingor, why are you here at WBS Rocks? Because probably you don't belong here.
No, I love
But then I
going.
could convert you, so which is a
Yeah, you did.
kudos to me that I could convert you there. So, great there. But overall, when I am looking at anybody, okay, I want to make sure that they are hanging out in the right community and I can help them with something. If I cannot do that, then obviously it's a loss for me in general. That's how I look at my relationships. So the people I want to have close connection with, if I am investing my 30 minutes, I want to make sure that I am able to do something for them, so they are going to be benefiting either professionally or personally. Now going back to your question about LinkedIn, how I see LinkedIn. LinkedIn for me is the same thing.
Yeah,
What can I do to build relationships with my customer or the people who are hanging out with my customers? So
yeah,
I am very strategic in selecting the kind of people I want to hang out with, and I want to build sort of the community around that. And each of the steps that I am taking, sure, LinkedIn is amazing. There's no question about that. LinkedIn is extremely powerful if you really know how to capitalize it. Because at the end of the day, even if you are going to be spending $20,000 and going to go to a trade show, and the only thing you are doing there is selling, you are not necessarily building any sort of relationships. Okay,
no,
people are not going to remember you. The same
yeah,
thing you can do on LinkedIn as well, but for free. Okay, there are so many different ways in doing that. The way you are going to be commenting, people, especially if you're dealing with executives, they remember. Okay, if you are going to make really, really good,
totally.
informed, deep comment that they can learn from, they'll remember you, they'll watch you, they'll follow you.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's how I see LinkedIn in playing the networking. Okay, what can I do to make relationships? And by the way, the relationships that I built using LinkedIn, Ingor, you and I, great example of
yeah,
building a relationship from your LinkedIn. And now we are going to carry these relationships in the physical world when we are going to be meeting. Obviously now we have far deeper connection that I can always count on Ingor, let's say. And counting meaning I need to be responsible in asking. Okay, whatever I'm asking, I can ask randomly. When people ask that, then you are probably going to break that relationship, because you really need to know what you are asking and if the person is really capable of delivering. So I need to be really
yeah,
credible in terms of what I'm asking. But if there is something that you might be able to do, then you'll probably support me, right? And the same thing
Absolutely.
goes back as well.
Yeah.
So the way I look at LinkedIn is just a plain old sales, I don't know whether you want to call it tactic or the fundamentals. It's about giving. The way you need to be looking at LinkedIn is very
Yeah.
different. Okay, it's not different at all. Whether you go to a trade show, LinkedIn is the same principles. You can build same momentum, same community using LinkedIn as well. The only difference is it is free.
I love that. And I wanted to actually show you a quote that uh, hold on, I want to tell you about the person first. So, if you haven't heard about Michelle Janae, she is somebody that wrote a book called The Connect Worker. And she speaks about networking. And here she says, networking is not about just connecting people.
Yep,
It's about connecting people, people with
exactly,
ideas, and people with opportunities.
exactly.
And, that's something that I can say happened for me at WBS Rocks when I attended. I mean, now I don't because my time is limited, but I still support you guys as much as I can. And, you know, when I went there, I made friends. I connected with the people, not just on a superficial level, right? And
Yeah.
so, it helped me to tap into and to hone into those things that make me me as well, and really just develop myself and also gave me opportunities. So that's what it is about, really. Thank you, Sam. Let's just go to the comments quickly and say hello to you, Jamie. Jamie is an awesome friend that I also met on LinkedIn, and he's in Ontario as well. He is, he's saying, howdy, howdy, a bit late, but here's Jamie. And wow, David says, that's real emotion, Inga. Yeah, I think you're speaking about the Maya Angelou quote. So thank you, Dave. And I think this is also Jamie says absolutely relationships built for a reason to support each other or expand the community supporting each other. That's what it's all about. So, Sam, do you have, I don't know if you noticed, but we're already at over an hour. And I know you didn't think that we would make it this far, but do you have any closing thoughts for our audience?
The only thing I would like to add here is going to be, if you are not spending time on LinkedIn, if you are not building your personal brand, you are probably going to be left behind,
Yeah.
because the people who are able to capitalize on LinkedIn, they are going to be doing far better. They are being noticed by your media channels, by podcasters. So obviously they are going to get a lot more opportunities, and those opportunities in general result in some sort of business opportunities as well. So why are you not thinking about networking the way networking is supposed to be done? And the same thing goes for LinkedIn as well. Think about LinkedIn as a power that you have in your hands, and make a ritual to spend 2 hours on LinkedIn to support your customers, to support the people who support you.
Wow. And if those 2 hours seem like a bit too much, I would encourage you to take 5 days a week and spend 12 minutes a day. Just 12.
Yeah.
And the reason why I encourage you to do 12 is because it may seem like a little, but within those 5 days, 12 equates to an hour. And you will be amazed at how much impact you can make with those 12 minutes a day. Thank you, Sam, for being here, for being my guest, for making yourself available just to spend this time with me. And please let our audience know where they can find you so that they can connect. Because the point of LinkedIn is to be linked in. So go ahead and let us know where we can find you, Sam.
Yeah, so if you want to link in with me, I am available on LinkedIn. Okay, you can find me at Sam Gupta, WBS Rocks. WBS.rocks is the domain. 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐏𝐿𝐒VAT IQ is the business name. If you Google Sam Gupta WBS Rocks, I think the first link is going to be me. So yeah, you can probably find me there. Thank you so much, Inga, for having.
And you have a podcast. Can you tell them a little bit about your podcast before you go?
Yeah, so WBS Rocks is a very deep content. It's very focused on ERP, digital transformation, e-commerce, supply chain, those topics. So if you practice in those areas and you are looking for very deep insights, then WBS ROCKS is the podcast. It's also available on our YouTube channel. Elevate IQ is the YouTube channel. Um, is that good enough, Inga?
Yes, that's good enough. Thank you, Sam. And I'll send you to the green room while I wrap up.
Okay, amazing.
Thank you if you're still watching. Know that I love and appreciate you all. And, this for me is a power hour where I get to spend time with my people. So I'm wishing you a blessed Friday and a wonderful weekend ahead. And I'll see you back here next week for another episode of Inspiration from Inga, where I get to celebrate my birthday with you. Woohoo! And also, one more thing that's coming up uh, on October 7th, we are celebrating Manufacturing Day, and I will be hosting a panel where we will be discussing manufacturing and networking. So please tune in, join us, come and support us, and be part of the conversation. Um, for now, thank you so much. Take care. And I'll read the last comment. Thanks so very much. Only caught the last bit, but that was powerful. Yes, Sam is an amazing guy. If you're not connected with him, please do that. Whether you're in manufacturing or not, it doesn't matter. Um, you know, he may maybe just follow him, but he will always support wherever he can. So thank you again, and thank you, Sam, for being my guest. I will see you guys back here next week for another episode of Inspiration from Inga. Take care, be blessed, see you soon.